welcome to another episode of Earthworks Hub Live. So these are our Sunday sessions where we like to wrap up for the week and give you guys a bit of a rundown what I've been doing during the week, talk about a topic as usual. And this week's topic has actually been nominated by one of the Facebook group members. So Dean Kerr has actually requested this topic. So I am involving everyone. So if you have a topic you want me to talk about, make sure you hit me up with that either through the Facebook group or send me like a DM or whatever through Instagram, TikTok, or one of the other platforms. But yeah, we are going to be talking about a topic which I won't disclose until a bit further. But yeah, thank you again. This is Earthworks Hub. I'm your host Ivan Orlovic. A quick shout out to all my sponsors. So I've got so many at the moment that I'm going to have to read because I'm going to forget half of them. But thanks to JR Safety Co., Network Finance, the Bole Group, Melbourne Tractors, Spartan Machinery, Nexgen Landscapes and Earthworks, Godings, and then, as you all saw this week, I have now got Diggerlid on board and Digga, hence the Digga hat. So thank you to the new sponsors that have just jumped on. I appreciate all your support. And yeah, I look forward to working together to try and give everyone this sort of platform, give everyone some information, share all our history, all our stories, share all our journeys so that we can all learn from each other. So thank you to all my sponsors for your help. I did some posts this week. One of them was from my trip to Brisbane. So I visited Spartan Machinery while I was in Brisbane, went to their dealership, and I put up a video this week on that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing their dealership. I also did a review on their 13.5 ton or 14 ton machine. So that came out. And then I unboxed a little toy model that they gave me, and that's up in the background. You probably can't see it. It's a bit to the left. But I unboxed that. It's funny, that got a fair few hits on it. People enjoy that stuff. So anyway, if I do get any more die-cast models on it, I'll be unboxing them. Project Spalding, still going ahead. I've plastered, well, not myself, but the tradies have plastered up all the office area, all the frameworks done. Most of the windows are in. There's only one little corner window that has to be installed. And then we start painting and doing all the internal pieces, the grid tiles, ceiling, floorboards, all that sort of stuff. So there's a fair bit to be happening this week. During the week, so before I get to my topic, actually, I forgot to say it's Sunday, the 21st of July, 2024. I like to say the date, even though you can go back and see these episodes whenever you want. I do say the date, so that way you can sort of tell when it was done. So it is, yeah, Sunday the 21st. This week, so big headlines, the CFMEU. So I'm sure everybody has seen all this on the news. It's gone crazy. I can give you a quick rundown if you haven't been made aware. But in short, basically the National Construction Union leaders have placed the Victorian CFMEU into administration. So they're going to appoint an administrator to try and clean up specifically the construction in section of the CFMEU. And if you're wondering what's all happening, apparently there's all these allegations and reports of underworld figures infiltrating, and bikie gang members and stuff becoming, members of and leaders of the CFMU. So there's all this stuff going on. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more information coming out. So if you keep an eye out on the news, but yeah, very very interesting, very interesting reading on that. I especially love how all these politicians are coming out as shocked to hear about these things. So yeah, I'm very very surprised that they're actually coming out like that. Which obviously they are going to say that they had no idea, but I think everybody in the industry knows what's been happening there for many many years. Anyway, but I won't say too much because the news will tell us all that anyway. But yeah, just some interesting stuff going on there. It'd be good to see what unfolds. And somebody asked me if I could talk about what effect that would have on the civil industry, or the civil construction, and what's going to happen with all the civil companies and what's going to happen. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I've got a couple of opinions of what might happen. I think there might be a huge influx of people possibly coming out of the union jobs and trying to move into all the the subdivisions and stuff, which might not be good for all the people that are in the subdivisions at the moment. There might be pay reviews because obviously the union's done really well to try and increase all the rates and stuff. Now that might all start getting reviewed. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We'll have to play by ear. I've never encountered this situation, so it would be very interesting to see how all that pans out. We got somebody here, Jack Healy, saying, "Won't happen. Government and union in bed together. It's all a wank, and we'll pretend to do something for a few weeks till we all forget, and then business as usual." Yeah, you know what? I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised. So I don't know. I don't want to say too much. I've had minimal dealings with the CFMEU. I joined them when I first started my excavation business, thinking that I had to do it. I was under the impression we all had to be part of it, but then I discovered you don't have to. Didn't really get that much benefit out of it as an owner operator, and then I sort of stepped out of it. So, and I've never really gone back. So, yeah, not really like union affiliated or anything like that. But I'm not against them either. Yeah, so if they're doing good things and increasing rates, making jobs safer, making sure that keeping all these big builders and that in line, well, then it's good that we've got them. But we don't need all the other stuff that's happening at the moment. Anyway, that's not my topic for this evening. My topic is a nice, humble topic. So we've had Dean Kerr, one of our Facebook group members, has asked for me to talk about the methods and or products that I use to try and maintain or clean my equipment. So in particular, like grease and things like that. So you know what? It's a good one. I think it's a good topic. You see a lot of guys discussing how they love their cabins in their trucks or in their machines to be spotless. We have guys that polish their machines relentlessly, guys with trucks with chrome wheels and stuff. So it'd be good to talk about what I do, and then I'll open it up to you guys. So feel free to just put your what you guys do as well. But I'll go through what I do. So before I start, I'll talk about a couple of products as well that I use. So I'm not getting any commissions or royalties from these guys, but I'll say what I use because I think they're a good product. Koza from on TikTok is saying anyone can say they can make a job safer. It is true, yeah. He's referring back to the union stuff. So the first thing I want to say is never use barbecue cleaner on your machines. And that comes from a story that I'll tell you about now. I had an operator, and I'm sorry if he's listening. I won't say his name, but in case he gets embarrassed. But it was good at the time. So I was doing a job with one of my 5 tonners at a house. We were cleaning up, scraping the backyard, doing, I can't remember. Oh, we were preparing, that's right. We were cleaning up the backyard so they could get ready to build a unit at the back of their property. And I left my operator there. At the end of the day, I came past to see how he went, and I saw the machine look spotless. So it was a 5-ton Kubota, spotless machine. And I said to him, "Wow, how'd you clean that? Did you give it a good wash?" And he said, "Oh, I found the best thing ever." And I said, "What'd you use?" And he showed me. He said the owner had thrown out some rubbish, and he found a can of barbecue cleaner. And he said, "Yeah, I use this stuff." And he goes, "You see, it cleaned everything. It took all the grease off, and that was really good." So he sprayed the machine with it, let it sit and bake on there, and then he wiped it all off. And to his credit, the machine did look really, really good. It was clean as, and it still had a bit of shine to it. And I was like, "Oh, good, well done, man. We're onto something new here." The next day, we came into work, and the machine, obviously, the barbecue cleaner affected the paint. It had all gone matte, so the color was all matte, and the paint went chalky. It actually turned to like a chalk, and when you wipe it, it actually like had left red like chalk all over your fingers. So I don't know if the barbecue cleaner ate the paint. And then I realized, I said, "Did you even wash it with water after you finished?" And he said, No, I just sprayed it on and wiped it with a rag." So my advice: do not spray barbecue cleaner on your equipment. It will not work. In fact, it will stuff it right up. So yeah, then we went through a big phase of polishing this thing up, and we had to use heaps of polish and wash and wax for weeks. And I think it never really rejuvenated back to what it was, but it did look good when you first did it. I have to admit, it did look good. So that's one piece of advice. But with excavators, obviously we get a lot of grease on there. If you're like me and you love to pump a little bit too much grease into all the pins and that, it does eventually build up. And if you don't get a chance to wash them that often, obviously that keeps accumulating over time, and then then you get all the grease starts dropping down in little chunks onto other parts, and then it melts, and then it just becomes black everywhere. Which is why I like to usually wash them a lot more often. And even for tip trucks and stuff, I know when you've got grease around everywhere or diesel, overflowing, or you got oil leaks and then they're creeping down along the back of the truck and stuff, or when you've got dirt and clay that you've been carrying for ages and it starts to yellow off the body and stuff. Um, I know that you got to have the right products. So what I always used is it's called the CT14. So a lot of you probably heard of this. It's a Chemtech product. Um, I'll post up a picture on it. So when I can't do it now, but when I post this up on all my channels, I'll put up a picture of it. So it says Chemtech CT14, and it's a heavy duty degreaser. It's a concentrated one, so you've got to actually add a little bit of water to it. I use that one, and then they've got this other one called shock treatment, which I haven't used, but it's called shock treatment. Apparently, that's similar, but it's supposed to be a bit more heavy duty. And they're all water based as well, so they're not bad for the environment. And they're a concentrate, so you just add a little bit of water to them, and then what I'll do is I'll talk through what I do, and then feel free to. I invite you guys to give your opinions as well. But what I do is I have the CT14, for instance, and sometimes if I can't get my hands on the CD14, I'll just go to Super Cheap Auto and get whatever degreaser they got. But I'll dilute it into one of these. So you can get one of these spray bottles in any of those like retailers that sell all sort of like Total Tools or any of them. Even I think Bunnings have these as well. But I use one of those, dilute the actual degreaser into that, and then I'll spray it over all the major grease points. So if I'm talking about excavators, just say I'll put it over all where all the pins are and the bushes. If I'm on my trucks, I'll be spraying that underneath in the engine bay, spraying it all over wherever the grease points are. And sometimes I'll spray that over wherever the clay or the dirt is starting to yellow off the body, I'll spray that on there, and then I'll let it sit for a bit. If I've got big chunks of grease, I'll use a scraper. And I was looking for my scraper. I have those little paint scrapers. So that they're like a little handheld paint scraper that goes off into like a semi triangle. I use one of those little steel ones, and I'll use that to scrape all the excess grease off. And then I'll also spray a bit more of the degreaser on, and either use a rag to wipe off the bigger bits of grease, or I'll use like a little brush. And the only thing is the brushes get clogged and then they're hard to wash later, so I try not to use the brushes. So I usually do that. So I'll spray that on. Then what I'll do, I'll let it sit. So while the degreaser is working, then I'll set up my high pressure hose, high pressure machine. I'll put some soap into the actual dispenser, and so that way it gives time for the grease to start to work. Then what I do is I'll hit the machine with my soap dispenser. So I usually have on the gurney the little tube, the little connection that has all the soap in it. So I'll dilute a little bit of soap into that, spray all the machine with soap on top of the degreaser, and then I blast it all off with the high pressure gun, and that usually works. That usually works all right. So and if there's any like grease that hasn't come off, I'll just spray a little bit of WD-40 on there, and then WD-40 I'll just wipe it off with a rag. But then I always make sure I wash the machine again with soap at the end, because you want to make sure any degreaser or WD-40 is all washed off, because you don't want to leave it on there. Just like that barbecue cleaner. But also what you can do is diesel. So one of my operators actually put me onto that and said, I remember he washed one of the machines and got rid of all the grease, and I was wondering how he did it, and he told me he used degreaser. So yeah, he just used just plain diesel, and did I just say degreaser before? I got a bit lost for words. Uh, he just uses diesel on there, and he used to just pour a bit of diesel onto a rag, wipe it on to the machine, and then he used to just wipe it off, and it actually worked well. It worked well. So Sydney Rockwall Constructions is saying a plastic paint scraper is great too. So yeah, the plastic ones are good. I actually keep the metal paint scraper. I have one in the cabin and I have one in my car. So before I get in the car, if I've been walking in mud, I scrape the bottom of my boots off with the scraper and then just leave it in the little door trim. That way I know exactly where it is all the time before I get in. So yeah, the paint scraper is good. I also like the paint scraper because when you have it in the cab, you can pick off any mud off the foot pedals with it. You can actually scrape. So I actually use it to sometimes, when your buckets get a bit clogged, you can scrape. You can use the scraper to take off a little bit of the mud because it gets in there. It's thin and it just gets in and sort of cuts under it. And also, even when you're cleaning tracks, sometimes I find that better than the shovel because you just put that in and push up against the metal and the mud will just sort of come off. As long as you don't try and use it to lever it because obviously they're flimsy, but you can put it in and keep cutting the clay underneath and then it actually the mud falls off. So yeah, some of the people see me with the hand scraper and they say, "What's this guy doing with a hand scraper taking mud off?" And it actually works though. It works well. Thank you for the likes, guys. I can see people sending roses. Benji boy, thank you for that. We've got some comments here. Earthforce is saying that he's heard of a mixture of diesel and truck wash, but unsure of the ratio. Yeah, that's good, man. And somebody else is J&P is saying diesel is the best for getting grease off. Diesel and a paintbrush. So there you go. I actually did see, I think it was Terra Pro Earthworks was posting a video not long ago of himself with a brush and some diesel, just brushing around all the like you dip a brush into some diesel and brush it on all the grease. So that's good. And Nugget haulage, I think it is. Nugget with those Komatsus, he's always keeping his machines really clean. He'd be someone that would be able to comment on this. What else? So after washing the machines, I always try and use like a wash and wax because our machines don't get washed as often as I like. I think having, or even your truck, even having a wash and wax type liquid is better than just a wash. Um, and the steps, if I had to go back and say, all right, what steps do I take? I always clean the interior first. So I start with the interior, blow it all out with the blower, blow all the dust out and stuff, wipe it all down and then close it. Then I'll do all the outside. Um, so I don't know what you guys think, but that's what I do. I start with the interior, but then I'll do like the engine bay, all the cabinets, so wherever the hydraulics and that are. If I've got a truck, I'll lift the bonnet or lift the body, depending what type of truck, and I'll do all the engine bay first. Then I'll lift the body, do all underneath the body first, and then I'll put the body back down and then wash the truck. So that's the steps I take when I do mine. For the interior, some people have various products they use. I just use Windex, or a form of Windex, but that like just a window washer. Because what I find with Windex is, and I keep in the bigger machines, I used to just keep a bottle of Windex in there. On the smaller machines, because you got no room, I just keep the Windex in the car. But even in the tippers and stuff, I used to just keep a bottle of Windex. So that one, if you're at the tip and you're waiting in line, you can just wipe your windscreen a bit. You can wash your windows. But also, the Windex is good for cleaning inside. So it's an all rounder. You can clean all the dash. You can clean all the vents with it. So I find that the Windex is handy to clean all the interior, all the handles, all the joysticks. Yeah, the Windex does a good job. So that's what I do. Instead of having multiple products, I just use Windex, and that means I can do the windows and all the interior together. And I think the other thing is, it's vital to have. And Benji Boy saying Windex is good, yeah. And I think it's also vital to have a cordless blower or a battery operated blower. They're the best thing. You can use that to blow out all the dust from your inside. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, how do you get dust in there if you got your door closed?" Sometimes I'm one of those operators that has the door open. So if I'm working with plumbers and I'm moving pits and things, I need to hear instructions. So I usually open the front window and while I'm working with them, and it gets dusty. It does get dusty in there. And then that's where it's good to have the blower, and you can use it to blow out the interior. You can use it to blow out to all your air filters, and then I also use it to blow out the aircon filters. So I know there's a lot of guys that probably don't even realize they've got to blow the aircon filters out. So some of the larger machines have got like a little separate cabinet where the aircon filters are. Some of the smaller ones, like the 5s and lower, they've got them sitting behind the seat usually. So just make sure that you blow out your aircon filters. Even in the posi tracks and that, they've got them behind the cab usually somewhere. You got to open the little cabinet and then blow the air filters out, because they block up and then your aircon's not going to work properly. Here we go. Theodora Ted is saying the hardest is mud from your boots, paint scraper and paint brushes. Yeah, that's right. For your boots, definitely paint scraper. Yeah, and I like it because they're small enough to fit in the door trim of a car, and I've got them in the cabins. You can just sort of shove it in under somewhere or put it in the pocket, and it doesn't really get in your way. But they're really handy to have. Yeah. So that's my advice for like washing and cleaning and maintaining. So yeah, the hand paint scraper, whether it's plastic or steel, I prefer the steel one. But the plastic is good if I suppose if you want to scrape grease off painted surfaces. Yeah, maybe it's probably better than a steel one because you're not going to scratch the paint. Now the other thing is, when I used to wash my trucks, I always found it really hard to reach everywhere, especially all the tip trucks, because the bodies were like taller than me. I couldn't reach from the ground. I hated going up and down little step ladders. Then to do the cab, so especially one of the Fusos I had was really tall. It was a cab over, so it was really tall. So I found this product worked the best for me. I've got it here with me. I'll just show you guys. So it's one of those little flat mops. So this is a flat mop. It's the ones where you can do your floorboards at a house or your tiles with it, and it comes like with a little lamb's wool or microfiber cover, so you can change that. So you can take that off and wash it when it gets really dirty. But I find that this, on its extension pole, is really handy for tip trucks, especially if you've got a taller body and you can't reach the top. This, you just dip it into, so you obviously have to get the right bucket to fit this in there. But yeah, you can go along the whole body, and this just swivels as you go, and you can wash the whole body with this, like just left to right, and then you can turn it and tilt it and do, the top lip of the tipper bodies. It goes in underneath the actual tarp wires. You can put it in under the tarp wires, wash above them. Then you can actually reach up if you've got a big cab. You can reach up and go. You can stand on top on the body and actually get the roof with this. So these simple, man, from like a supermarket or a Bunnings or somewhere. These with an extension pole on them, they come like that anyway. I find this works the best for tippers and stuff. So hopefully that's a good tip there for you, tip truck drivers. And then I also have one of these in my cab. So I always have a little dustpan brush, not the dustpan, but just a brush, and I use that to always brush off all the floor. Even in the truck, we have them in the tip truck, and then you just brush off the floor. If you haven't got your blower with you, you just use that. And that's also handy when you finish cleaning your tracks, and that you can also just give them a quick brush so that all the dust doesn't come off when the float truck driver takes them away. There you go. There you go. So that is all I have. So the other thing I was going to say is, yeah, you can get different types of pads for those. You can blow out all your radiators as well with the cordless battery blower. Looking over my notes, I think I have covered everything for that topic. So they are methods that I use, and the products that I use as well. So nothing fancy, but Windex is a good all rounder. I actually, even when I had my 20 tonner and my 14, I used to actually clean the body sometimes just with the Windex as well. So I'd get out and just spray the body with Windex and just give it a wipe, and it actually worked pretty good. So yeah, you can use the Windex for everything, and it doesn't affect the paint. It's actually not too bad. So yeah, there you go. So that is my topic. So that is all I have on that. I'm opening up to you guys now. So thanks to Dean for suggesting that. There's been a couple of other people suggest some stuff on there. I've got to go through and have a look at those, but he was the one that I picked. So thank you again. But make sure you do go on there. So while I'm saying this, make sure you're joining the Facebook group. So Earthworks Hub Facebook group. On there, I always post a question. What topics do you want me to talk about? You can go on there and include yourself. And also what I've been doing is, if I see people looking for operators or operators looking for work on other groups or other messages and that, I post it up on there as well. So just trying to help everyone out. And then also go onto my Instagram, go onto my TikTok, go onto my YouTube channel, share the shit out of it, follow, subscribe, like, all that jazz, So please make sure you do that to support. And yeah, through those program platforms, you can also request if you want topics. If you're not on one or the other, you can hit me up on either one. Also on the Earthworks Hub website, so I'm sure everyone knows what it is now. So the Earthworks Hub website, you can list your business on there so that we can all use your services. So if you haven't done it, make sure you put your business on there, yeah, so that everyone can see your business and call you when they need something. So it's for the whole earthworks industry. It's not just earthworks; it's construction as well, I suppose. So if you're any type of construction field, especially if it's related to earthworks, yeah, make sure you're listed on there so everyone can see you and call you to use your services. Especially now that it's a bit quieter, why not try it out? See what happens. You might get some work out of it. You got to try different things. But we've had some listings this week. Here we go. I'll read them out. So this week we had JDS Earth Moving Group from Victoria. Obviously, Diggerlid have advertised on there as well. Godings have gone on there, so they're obviously two sponsors that have gone in and listed themselves. Sydney Rockwall Constructions has gone on there from Queensland. And then Terra Pro, the Terra Pro was from last week. Yeah, so we've had a couple on there this week. Make sure you do go on there, yeah? Jack Healy is saying Windex on chrome rims works really well. There you go. I didn't know that. I remember, I'll tell you a story. I had one of my old Mac tip trucks. Yeah, one of my old Mac tip trucks had chrome wheels, but they were sort of let go, obviously. And I thought I'll chrome them up. And I remember I spent two days flat out. I bought all this chrome polish and stuff, and bought all the little drill attachments. All the little balls that you can put on the end of the drill to polish it. I spent 2 full days polishing those rims, and they actually came out really, really good. You can probably see that on one of my old posts, like from years ago. And then on that Monday, so that was Saturday and Sunday, I spent all day on it. Monday, it rained and we worked, and my wheels just got demolished in the first day. And I tried to keep them going for another week or two, and I just had enough and just let it go. I gave up. It was just too hard. JMP Excavations. Oh, Earthforce is saying doesn't fade the paint to JMP. He must be talking about the diesel. Yeah, no, apparently it doesn't. Yeah, so Earth Force, yeah, apparently it doesn't. The diesel won't actually affect the paint, but you do have to wash it with water after you finish with it. Yeah, I would highly recommend washing it just to make sure that there's no diesel left on there. I suppose if you think about it, how many times have you spilled diesel over your machine when you've tried putting machine, like on the smaller machines? Sometimes we used to use jerry cans, and sometimes you spill diesel on it, and it doesn't really affect it. It's not too bad. But I always try and pour a bit of water over it if that happens anyway. Ooh, here we go. What's happened here? Stevie Please. Stevie Please is saying a guy at work rolled a 13-tonner. Have you or your employees done that? Huh. Oh, that's a good question, yeah. Yes, one I haven't personally, but my employees have. So I've had two situations. I can tell you about two things. So one was the posi track. So I had an operator go out to a job out in regional Victoria. He took my what was he in? No, he was in the tipper. So he took the tip truck. So we used to get the ramps, reverse the posi track up into the back of the tipper body, push the ramps in, close the door. He was still relatively new on the posi track because he was more of an excavator operator. So I got him trained on the posi. He went out to this it's like a farm. It's pretty, like, it was pretty rural. So he went out in the middle of nowhere, went to unload the machine, and what he did was he put the ramps out, started going down the ramps, and he had the 4-in-1 bucket holding the smudge bar, and he lifted the smudge bar as he came to the tipping point at the back of the truck. He lifted the smudge bar up to see the bottom of the ramps, to see where the ramps are, and started going down the ramp slightly, and then the weight of the smudge bar being up so high dropped the machine forward so much that it actually lifted the back of the machine up. So he was sort of doing an endo, and the smudge bar sat on the ramps. So basically he went down the ramps endoing. So he had the front of the tracks only on the ramp and the smudge bar, and slid all the way to the bottom and then landed on the ground like that. So basically the door for the posi track was facing the ground, if you know what I mean. So the bum of the machine was up in the air, and it was just enough room for him to turn the machine off and open the door slightly and fit through the door out from under the machine and get out. So that was a nightmare. Lucky the machine didn't get damaged. However, we did lose a lot of oil in that, and it all came down through the engine bay and stuff, and came out into the cab. So we had a big process fixing that. Another one, I had a guy also in the posi track. We were doing a job at the airport, of all places, and he had a bucket too high in the air with the posi track, and as he was flying along, he hit a soft spot in the ground, and he had a bucket full of crushed rock. So the weight of the bucket tilted him forward, and then the machine landed forward onto the bucket, and then in panic he pushed down on the controls, which made the actual machine tilt more, and then the bucket open. So that was the same sort of thing. He just ended up endoing, and I think that's happened to a few people, yeah. And then machine wise, I had two issues. One of my workers rolled the 1.8 tonner. So he finished doing a trench. So I wasn't there, but they told me what happened. Apparently, he finished doing a trench for some plumbers with the 1.8 and got himself into a corner and didn't realize that he can't get out that way. So he had to track back sort of through where the trench was. And he tracked too close to the trench and actually slid into it and rolled the 1.8 into the trench. And then the worst thing was that in panic mode and thinking that I was going to kill him, he tried to rectify the problem and got a bobcat that was on site to lift it by the 1.8 ton, by the cabin, because it was open cab, but by the actual, they lifted it from the roof, bent all the roof, bent all the panels on the machines, pulling it out sideways. In fact, made it worse. And then he was in there trying to spin around and get himself out, and then kept damaging all the sides of the machine. So pretty much ruined the 1.8 tonner. So that was another issue. And another one was an operator was in the 5.5 tonner and was doing some, what was he doing? Oh, he was backfilling some electrical trenches on the civil job. So they did some electrical trenches, put in all the electrical pits, and all the Telstra pits. And then they asked him to track along the electrical pit. So he was tracking alongside it, reaching over and picking up crushed rock, and then turning sideways, and then putting a load of crushed rock around each Telstra pit. But being a zero swing 5 tonner, as soon as you load up a bucket with rock and put it sideways, the machine tends to tilt, which I don't think he sort of thought about. And he went full reach with the bucket, and lucky the Telstra pit was underneath the bucket, because he started tilting sideways and got the machine almost totally sideways, and the bucket landed on the Telstra pit, and that saved him. So if that pit wasn't there, if the trench was just there and the pit wasn't installed, his bucket would have went down deep into the trench. The machine would have went over. So the Telstra pit saved him. And then they had to get the backhoe to pull him out. And the funny thing is that that's a story where I didn't find out about that from my operator. I actually had to find out through someone else. So I don't know if that's a good thing. Sometimes it's better not to know things, but I'll rather know. So some advice for people that are operating: if you're operating for someone, no matter whether you think you're going to get in trouble, or you're going to think you're going to lose your job or whatever, you're better off telling your boss what you've done than not telling him, because it might lead to something worse. You know what I mean? And then in that moment of panic, trying to rectify and quickly fix things, you can actually make things worse. So you're better off just stop, think about it, call the boss straight away, tell him what happened, and then work out how you're going to recover the machine safely without damaging it, and also damaging other things. Because, for instance, those Telstra pits, if you broke that pit, I'd be liable to pay for that pit, liable for the repairs on the machine, and everything. So, yeah, um, having multiple operators and that can be interesting. So that's hopefully that answers your question. I have had a few things happen. Yeah, that's for Stevie. Please, hopefully you're still on board. We got Mola Excavations joined us as well. I haven't seen that one yet. Thank you for joining, Mola. What else is there? So yeah, so we've spoken about machine rollovers, spoken about what products and what things I do to keep my equipment clean. We spoke a little bit about the CFMEU. What else do we talk about? About the week. What else? What else do you guys want to talk about? Oh, Sydney Rockwall is saying Cobb's Coat is a great interior cleaner. Cobb's Coat. Is that you talking about the Cobra cans that you see, or is that something different? Cobb's Coat. Because I do see some people use those little Cobra cans. I don't know if that's a cleaning product or if that's just a spray. I'm not sure. Oh, Cobra, yeah, that's the one, yeah. So yeah, Sydney's saying he means Cobra. Yeah, I've heard they're good. I've seen a couple of people use those, and you see them at the servos always. So, I think they're a common cleaning product. Steve Stoikovsky, here we go. Chicho, what's cracking? Thanks for joining, Steve. I haven't seen you lately. I haven't been doing live during the week. I've been busy working on Project Spalding, so Steve usually joins me on my weekly lives while I'm operating. And Earthforce Excavations is also saying, yeah, the Cobra cleaner is the Cobra coat is a good product. So there you go. I noticed there's a couple of different ones. So they must have different smells or something. I noticed there was a couple of different ones because I went in there to go get one once, but then there was like 3 different types, and I thought, I just left it. But yeah, no, that's good. So Cobra is another good one. What else is there? What else do you guys want to add? I'll leave the door open. Cherry. The cherry color one, the cherry edition. There you go. All right, I'll have to go get one. I want to try. I've always wanted to try it, but I haven't bothered. But I will. I will now. And because I see him at all the service stations. Where are you working, Chicho? Steve Stoikovsky's asking where I'm working. Yeah, the last week or two, I've been really just working at Project Spalding, so I haven't really been on the machine much. We did a lot of framework, plastering, all the curbs for the car park area. Did the crossover section. So now I've got to do all the landscaping there. So I've been just really focusing on Project Spalding. And then I was also away. Sorry, I was in Brisbane for the last 2 weeks as well. So, yeah, the last couple of weeks I've been doing other things, not sitting in the machine, which is good. It's good to have a bit of a break from the machine, but I do miss it. I do actually miss it. Yeah, yeah. Jack of all trades, he says. Jack of all trades. Yeah. Mickey, is that Mickey Weapon? Is saying in the windscreen washer bottle, I run bars bugs diluted with water and it goes all right. Oh, the bars bugs. I know which one you mean. It's got little it's like a white bottle with pictures of bugs on it, like green bugs. I know which one. I've used that as well. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I didn't even talk about the windscreen washer bottle. Yeah, you can definitely put like a diluted soap in there for windscreens. I usually just put water because I go through so much of it. But yeah, definitely having something like that, the bars bugs will help. So yeah, there's another point for everyone. Yeah, I remember that actually. I forgot. I've still got that bottle somewhere. Oh, Godings. Here we go. Godings are saying anyone that comes into Godings stores and mentions Earthworks Hub gets a free Kubota beanie. Oh, there you go. How cool is that? So guys, if you missed it, Godings Kubota, so they're in Rockbank and Geelong in Victoria, are saying that anyone that comes into Godings and mentions Earthworks Hub will get a free Kubota beanie. Check it out. Make sure that you take the opportunity. Go and see the guys there. Like I was saying, they're in Rockbank and Geelong. They're a sponsor. They're also a long term supplier for me as well. So I've used had a lot of Kubota machines, and they've always been really, really good to deal with. So yeah, no, definitely, yeah, take the opportunity, guys. So yeah, Godings, Rockbank, and Geelong have announced a free beanie for anyone that comes in and mentions Earthworks Hub. I like it. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Um, if you haven't been to the Earthworks Hub website, I know I'll keep mentioning that you can list your business on there, but also if you've got a project and you need some type of service or a supplier or something, go on there first and see if you can find someone, because there's a whole bunch of people on there already. So let's try and use the services of the people that are using that website. But also on my website, you'll have not only my latest YouTube videos and my latest podcasts, but I've also got some really, really important links on there. So I've got links to Dial Before You Dig, or Before You Dig now they're called. So I've got links to Before You Dig, the National Heavy Vehicle Regulator, WorkSafe, and Are You OK? So if you need to use any of their services, or if you want to find out information, yeah, just go on and click on the links and you'll get taken there. So, and also you'll see on the front page all of the partners slash sponsors, affiliates. So you can also click on their little logo, and that will link you to their website if you want to go direct. So yeah, no, I think I will start to wrap it up here, guys. We're all probably keen to get ready for another week. It's been freezing in Melbourne. We had this Arctic winds and stuff coming through, so, and a fair bit of rain. So hopefully people's jobs are still working and still going ahead. If not, enjoy a couple of days at home and catch up on some maintenance if you can, or spend some time with your family if you have to, or go and catch up, pay some bills, go and buy uniform or parts or whatever you need. So use those days wisely. Don't just do nothing. Or if you are always usually flat out, use them as a rest day. But guys, I'm going to start wrapping it up. I appreciate you all coming on here and listening, and also giving your feedback and giving some responses and all your input. So make sure you join me here every Sunday, 8 o'clock, for our live sessions. Take advantage of the offer from Godings in Rockbank and Geelong. So free beanie to anyone that mentions Earthworks Hub when they walk into the store. If you do get a beanie, let me know. Yeah, that'll be good to see if anyone actually follows up on it. Take a photo of the beanie, yourself with the beanie, and post it up. Appreciate you all coming on. Thanks for listening. Share the shit out of all this. Let's make it knowledgeable to everyone. To join me here, and have a good week. See you on the next one, guys.